I'm now recording. So this is our all-team call on Tuesday night, the 29th of November. We are just wrapping up the year. It just always, there's Chris. You want to be in it, Chris? There's Chris.
That's good.
It's always just amazing to me how quickly the year goes by, but this has been a fabulous year of connection with our team. The team chemistry has never been better. It's been a connection with our small team here in Oregon. I know each of the NMDs on the call have had some great team chemistry as well. And along those lines, and I really think it's the connections that make everything more in this business than any other business I've ever been a part of. It's all about connection, whether it's connection to your one teammate, whether it's connection to the larger team, and even connection to yourself, to really be connected to what's important to you and your core values. And I don't know why I'm talking about this tonight, Brandy. I never have, but I think I do know why, because I think that one of the things that happened when we were in Florida, and this is why I'm so excited to have Brandy on tonight. And by the way, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Nikki Cotton. This is Chris Cotton. If you're new to the call tonight, we're 100 Club. I've been with the Juice Plus Company for 26 years, and that's enough said because I really want to have Brandy talk tonight. But when we met Brandy in Florida, I may have said hello or goodbye to her. I don't even remember before that. But what I do remember is I believe Bob or somebody asked Brandy to come up and say a few words, and she said, I didn't know I was going to be in front of the room. I don't have anything prepared. I don't know what to say. And what came from Brandy was literally so, the reason it worked is it didn't come from here. It came from her heart, and it just floated away. And I remember sitting and going, right next to me going, who is this woman? And she is all heart. And I love the idea of, I think the second time I heard Brandy was on the Blue Ridge Mountain Boot Camp, because I listened to your training. And again, I think it was love, hugs, and trust the process, right? Yep. And it was just so perfect for Brandy. But just for those of you that don't know, she is 100 Club. She has 4 children that she can tell you more about the ages. And she was a nurse, and this business completely allowed her to retire to be a stay-at-home mom and create a lifestyle for her and her family that they really didn't imagine would happen. So with that said, and lots of Elton Awards and all kinds of stuff that I wrote down that I don't remember now, because what's going to be important is what we get to hear tonight from Brandy. So Brandy, I'm going to spotlight you, so people can see you big, and if you're not, you might look on your own computers and put it on speaker view if you'd like. And Brandy, I'm turning this over to you. I can't wait. And if we need to do, like we talked earlier, a back and forth, that's cool.
Yeah, well, we'll just trust the process, right?
Absolutely.
And I prayed before I got on, so I trust the process too. And so those of you who have never heard my story before, I'm just going to start with my story, because I think that, when I look at the bigger picture today, as you just heard all of that, I'm very humble about that. That's not something I like to really, I don't share that a lot, because when I look at myself, I'm an ordinary girl who's done some extraordinary things, and you can too. And when I say that, like if I gave you guys my background, I grew up in a very simple house. In a 900 square foot house, if you really want to know the truth. And my parents instilled in me a work ethic. And that work ethic is what has led me to success today. And so you heard Nikki say that I retired from my nursing career because of this Juice Plus virtual franchise. And I'll never forget it, because I was 32 years old, and my mom never graduated from high school. My dad did. And I was the first person from either side of my family to graduate from college. So when I stepped away and gave up my nursing career at 32, I thought that they were going to have a heart attack, because I had done something that never had happened in my family. And I had worked so hard to get that nursing degree, and yet I decided to step away. And that's where I come in tonight and say, trust the process. Because 13 and a half years ago, I actually showed up on a Friday evening at one of my best friend's home, and I knocked on the door to have dinner. And she said to me, Brandy, I found something that could help your postpartum depression. And I looked at her kind of funny, and I'm like, I'm already on something for postpartum depression. There's nothing else that can be done. That would have been my medical background, because while I was in nursing school, I learned disease and I learned about medicine. I didn't learn about prevention and wellness. And so when I struggled with postpartum depression after my first pregnancy, the only hope that I had was that antidepressant that I was placed on. And honestly, I thought I was dealt the card of depression because my mom has a history of depression and bipolar. And so I just thought, well, it's just the card I was dealt. I never dreamt in my wildest dreams that we had the opportunity to turn our genes on or turn them off, and that's called epigenetics. And so as my girlfriend shared Juice Plus with me, I just asked her a few questions. I asked her, what is it? And she says it's fruits and vegetables. And I asked her how much it was. And the price really is no different than it is today, except for shipping. And I said to her, I can't afford it. That's 2 packs of diapers in a month's time. And she loved me right where I was. In fact, what she did was hand me at that time, I think there was really only one brochure, honestly. And she handed me a cassette tape. And I left her house that evening with no intention of looking up the information or no intention of listening to the cassette tape. And I didn't. What happened, though, is I worked that weekend. And while I was at work, my husband did the research. And so when I came home from work on that Sunday morning, he looked at me and he said, Brandy, I think that this is something we should do. We don't eat enough fruits and vegetables, and it just makes sense. And I literally said to him, have you lost your marbles? And he said, no, it just makes sense. And I really feel at that time, God had a complete different plan. And that plan was we had moved into our house because his dad was ill, and he was placed on disability because he had 90 to 100% heart blockage in every artery, and they gave him a year to live. So his dad moved in with us. And I really think today that Juice Plus walked into my life because of him, because of Ken's dad. But anyways, long story short, I went to my best friend's house the following week for her very first wellness presentation. She invited me. I had no intention of getting started with Juice Plus, but I supported her because that's what every good friend should do, and that's what every family member should do for people. And literally after the first 10 minutes, my life was forever changed. Because the statistic that got my attention was by age 3, children have fatty deposits in their arteries. And I thought to myself, wow, Kaylee's not even 1 yet, and perhaps she has fatty deposits in her arteries. Because you know what? I was a fast food junkie. I loved every minute of it. I'm a pretty small statured girl. However, during my first pregnancy, I gained 40 pounds. I went up 6 sizes. And it's because I was just gaining weight and I couldn't figure it out. But it was because of my diet, and the only 2 vegetables that existed in Ken and I's diet at that time was canned corn and canned green beans. So I knew at that time we definitely had room to bridge the gap. So after the presentation was over, I said, sign me, Ken, and Kaylee up. And my girlfriend said to me, Brandy, it's only $50. Doesn't it make sense to offset your cost? And I literally folded my arms and I said, I'm not a pharmaceutical sales rep. I am a nurse, and I'm supposed to be taking care of sick people. And she said, what do you have to lose? You're already going to order the product. It is only $50. And I was like, all right, fine. After we put my application in, we faxed it over. That's how it was back then. You could fax it or mail it. She said to me, now all you have to do is go get 20 people on Juice Plus in the next 60 days. And some of you might be thinking, holy smacks. And I just looked at her and I smiled and I said, okay. And I never thought anything else about it. Nobody introduced me to a memory jogger. Nobody introduced me to the tools that are out there today. What I did was come home and I literally made it to the first position of direct distributor. Day 1 because of myself and Ken and Kaylee, and then my mom, my dad, and my father-in-law ordered. And 2 weeks in, I got a check back for $130. And I thought to myself, wow, I didn't even do anything. What would it look like if I could help 5 people get healthier every month? For some reason, I don't really know why I focused on the number 5. I don't know. But I knew 5 was a tangible number, and I knew that I could literally reach out to 5 people a week. So I kind of just broke it down. And so that's exactly what I did. I came home, I made a list of 25 names, and I literally committed to connecting with one person a day. And I then made the next commitment of having a wellness presentation in my house every week for a year straight. And I did it by myself. You have to understand, my upline was brand new too. She was 2 weeks new. Her sponsor was a complete stranger. So my first wellness presentation, they came to my house and did it. And literally I had 13 people in the room and 9 people ordered. And I thought to myself after watching them, I said, man, I can do that. And so I set a goal. And that goal was to impact 5 people's lives a month. So I knew that if I could reach out to 5 people a week, I could get from those 5, 1 to 2 people in my living room. I knew I would get 1 to 2 orders a week. I did that for a year straight. I fast-tracked to sales coordinator in 4 months. And I would like to tell you, I was ignorance on fire. I wasn't somebody that had to know everything. But when she approached me and said, I found something that could help your postpartum depression, the light bulb went off. And you guys might know of Jamie Kinsey, my buddy. I actually went to the bar with her sister. Her sister's one of my best friends. And I grew up in that family, and they were the sickest household. And so when I showed up at the bar and met her, I literally looked at her and I said, Jess, guess what? I found something that could help your allergies and asthma. Now, you have to know she made fun of me, but she made fun of me to the right person. And Jamie ended up calling me. And when she called me to order, I just said, Jamie, it's only $50. You have a big family. You're a medical professional. Doesn't it make sense to offset your cost? So I've always kept it super simple from the beginning. And that's what's driven our success today inside of our team. You know, I have a few tips for wisdom. 1, stay in line and trust the process. The minute you get out of line, you're going to slow it down, all right? Or the minute you quit. The only way to fail inside of this business is to quit. And you might think it should look a different way, but David Beavers has always said that this is a personal a personal growth business, a personal growth development disguised as a business. And so for me, when I look back inside of this journey, yes, I fast-tracked to sales coordinator in 4 months, but you know what? It then took me 3 years to get to senior sales coordinator. And then I got from senior sales coordinator to Q within 6 months. And then it took me 4 years to get to national marketing director. And when I look back at this journey, I never said yes to go to the top of the marketing plan. I only said yes to offset the cost of my product. And so I went out there and I created and developed relationships. And this is a relationship business. As Nikki opened up, I just smiled because this is the most simple thing I can tell you. If you can't go create a relationship with somebody or develop a relationship with somebody, you really are going to have a hard time building a business, because this is a relationship business. And if you are completely in it for the money, it's not going to come fast enough to you. And you're going to be disappointed. And so along the way, I have had obstacles occur. And you will hear me say every obstacle becomes an opportunity. I have never said, why me? I've never gotten mad or frustrated thinking, I can't believe I'm walking through this. I always had the courage to reach up and ask my upline mentors for support. I might have not understood things, but I never was mad about it. And when I look back now, every obstacle I incurred brought me to a place for me to be the leader that I am today. So I couldn't have been a national marketing director before 7 years because I wasn't ready. And I might have not always understood why, but I always trusted the process. And so when you look inside of this business today, you are totally in the right place at the right time. I can tell you my business in the last 2 years, it's like increased 300%. That's the truth. And I remember Jason LaChance, he was the very first regional director. And I was a qualifying national marketing director when he came into the Juice Plus company. And he said to me at that time, Brandy, you have no idea what you built, but when it goes, it's going to go. And so for me, I focused on the number 5 every month. I trusted the process, and I always went wide. And when you can go wide, you never have to rely on people and put the pressure on people. When there is pressure on people, it's not fun. And so the motto inside of our team today, team chemistry is everything. And as the leader inside of my team, I'm always looking at my team with how can I create a win for my team? How can I create a win for my rep? How can I create a win for my customer? And so it is so important today that when you get a customer, you lead with a trio. It's non-negotiable. And if you're not on the trio tonight, then I'm going to encourage you when you get off to go sign up for the trio, because you have to be the product of the product to have success inside of our franchise. And the trio is the foundation of our business. And when you get somebody on the trio, they're going to get quicker results. And when you get somebody who has quicker results or who gets results in general, they're going to become a raving fan. And those raving fans are what turns into team members. And when you get a team member, if you can give them a positive income experience, they're going to trust you and they're not going to go away. So about 2 years ago, we created inside of our team what's called the HLP Day 1. The HLP Win Day 1. And I get asked a lot of questions. I am not looking for people who want to do this as a hobby. I don't. And I know at this point in the game, if somebody comes in to do it as a hobby, they're not going to go anywhere because they're not getting results. And so I know by getting somebody to that HLP Day 1, and I'll give them a 72-hour window, but I still want to tell you I have about a 95% success rate getting them to HLP Day 1. And that's because I train them on the back end, and they're bringing me a minimum of 3 trios to get started. When they do that, they get a check for $200 day 1. Now, it's not going to come day 1, but I know that the company is sending those checks within that week. And so they're getting a positive income experience. So that really is what surged us over these last few years. And so I want to kind of give you my statistics because there are some of you that have seen me on stage. There are some of you that have seen me on the stage at conference. There are some of you who witnessed me being an Elton nominee or an Elton winner. But the bottom line is I got into this business to serve people and to help change their health picture. And the more people you can help, the more money you're going to make. And the more money that you make, the more money you can give away. So this is our simple formula. 3 trios to 12 trios within the first 30 days. And then 24 trios. And you really want to maximize 24 trios to maximize your paycheck. And then it's 48 trios to get to sales coordinator with 3 team members. So all you have to know really is 3, 12, 24. And you duplicate that, and the 48 is going to come. And so this is the picture of my journey that I was going to share with you. It took me 7 years to get to national marketing director. It took me 10 years to get to 39 club, right? I think that's what I sent you, Nikki. And let's see, 2 years ago, I was at 39 club. So that's not true. 2010, I hit national marketing director. In 2014, I hit 39 club on my 39th birthday. And from 2014 to September of 2015, I went to 100 club. And the only formula for that was contagiously fun, being energetic, and sharing the truth and helping people win. And when you can give them a positive product experience, which is the trio, you're going to get team members. And when you can speak confidently of the business, and even if somebody comes to you and says, oh, I just want to offset my cost, I just want to do this as a hobby, I will say to them, you know what? I know you want to do it as a hobby, but I know better today, and it's my job to set you up for success. And in order to offset your cost, this is what needs to be done. And so I lock arms with them, and we go do it together. That is key. You have to do this business together, locking arms with your team members. And I sit here and speak before you today. I've never asked my team to do something that I haven't done. So for instance, when I taught them to go do the HLP day one, I made sure, well, I did that 13 and a half years ago. That was easy. But then I taught them, okay, we're going to do the 2,000 plus in 30 days or less. I did do it in 40 days, 13 and a half years ago, but I thought I can't teach somebody to go do it in 30 days or less if I haven't done it. So I restarted myself, even though I was a national marketing director, I did it in 17 days. All right. Then building a customer base to 24 trios, I have had over, I have a very large customer base. So getting customers was never the issue. So my encouragement for you today is to be the best rep inside of your team. And in order to do that, you have to model it. And if you don't feel comfortable speaking it, then keep practicing. You guys, my success today is because I keep it simple, I'm duplicatable, and I'm so real. If I don't know the answer, I'm not going to be embarrassed about it. I just say, that's a great question. I don't know. And there are times I've said, what made you think of that question? But every question that's came to me has made me be a better rep. And you have to take ownership of your business. So my opinion today, we are in the right place at the right time. We couldn't be moving at a better pace. And now's the time to maximize it. And in order to maximize it, you have to take ownership for yourself. And then that's what you're going to attract. And why I continue to grow at the pace that I grow today is because even though I'm a national marketing director and I'm a 100 clubber, I still am bringing people in almost every month. We are building our second national marketing director leg. And I think when you bring new people in, it's just more fun. And again, then you don't have to keep poking and prodding at people. So the more that you can lock arms and have fun and be contagious and trust the process, success is going to happen. And remember, it's not necessarily your time, it's God's time. And He knows exactly what's supposed to be happening. And you did hear me say that I stepped away from my nursing career at the age of 32. I retired. You guys, I had no desire of stepping away from my nursing career. I was on maternity leave with baby number 3. And my sister had had her firstborn, and he's a special needs baby. And my nurse manager called me and truly put me in an unethical situation and basically told me that if I didn't come back she needed me on July 4th. And if I didn't come back, she would get me for job abandonment. And I'm such a rule follower, but that day I said to her, you know what, I can't give you an answer today, but I'll call you tomorrow and give you an answer. And when I hung up that phone, my husband happened to be on vacation. He thought somebody literally died. I was bawling my head off. And I looked at him and I said, I know my Juice Plus check is our fund money. I was making about $2,500 a month. It wasn't a huge amount, but it was our fund money, and we were having fun with it. And I just said to him, I think this is God's plan for me to come home, be a working mom from home. And if that door wouldn't have closed, I don't really think that I would be a 100 Club National Marketing Director today. Was it easy? It wasn't. I remember, this is a true story. I remember the only way that I was going to have presents under the Christmas tree that December was to have a discovery toy party, because we were living that tight, paycheck to paycheck. And I never really lived paycheck to paycheck, but I had to trust the process. So I went out there and I had a $1,000 discovery toy show so my kids could have toys under the Christmas tree. So maybe you've seen me speak, maybe you've seen me throughout my journey in the 13 years, but I want you guys to know that why I feel like I stand alone from, I'll just say myself, why I stand alone from anybody else out there. At this point, I take ownership of my business. I trust the process, and I continue to love and hug on people and build relationships. And I did come from a very simple life, and yet I feel like I've been called to something bigger and better and higher. And it's now my responsibility to reach down into my team and believe in them so they can achieve their dreams and goals. Because if my upline wouldn't have reached down inside of me, or I'm going to even say my sideline, Dawn Rathman, if she wouldn't have reached out and said, Brandy, I see something in you that I just don't always see in people, and she'd ask me to speak at a St. Louis regional, I don't think I'd be where I am today. People believed in me way before I believed in myself, and now I just get to pay it forward. So Nikki, Chris, if you want me to answer questions, or if you have anything, I'll be more than happy.
Well, one thing I don't know if I ever told you is this call is about a half hour long, and I don't think I ever said anything to you, and like you did it in 26 minutes or something, which is just crazy. Like the plan was not planned and worked out better than we could have ever planned. But Chris, is there something that you want to ask or say? I just
Well, first of all, fantastic, Brandy. Thank you. It's so great to just really kick back and listen to your story and your heart and your honesty coming through so well. But I was reminded that I think it was you that day that we were in Mars together. You had a comment that you said to people that maybe you weren't saying, maybe we're objecting to getting on the product or joining your business in the beginning, and you said, "Look, I have to tell you this." Would you share that?
So I'm going to say two things about that. One, I ask people to give me an educated no.
Right.
And once they give me an educated no, this is what I say. I have no attachment whether you say yes or no to me, but just give me an educated no, because I promise you a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, you're going to be so mad at me because I wasn't persistent enough.
Right.
So I do say that. And then you have to look at yourself, guys, as a gift. I look at myself as a gift every day. And when I say gift, like I have this package for people, whether they choose to open me up or not, that's their problem. And you got to think of it. Sometimes we get gifts from people and we don't like it, right? And we never like it. And then sometimes we get a gift and we love it. And then there's times we get a gift that we don't like it, but we put it away, and you stumble across it 3 months, 6 months, a year later, and you're like, oh, it's perfect timing. I love it. Well, that's where I look at myself as a gift. When I speak to somebody, I speak what I want. So I might say, oh my gosh, if you fall in love with this product, you're going to fall in love with the franchise, because the franchise is better than the product. Or once I get somebody on the juice, I will say, you know what? You will be a part of my team in the near future. And they'll shake their head, and I said, you're fine. I have no attachment, but I promise you will be a part of my team someday. And I promise you, every time I speak that, and I don't speak it to everybody, I have a certain intuition about that. It happens. Like this last conference, it took me 6 years. My very first 39 Club retreat, I met a flight attendant. Again, it's not saying the words Juice Plus ever. She sang on my flight out to the 39 Club retreat. I couldn't see who she was. I just remember elbowing Ken and saying, oh my God, that woman is so fun. I want her on my team. We landed. I went up to a flight attendant and I said, can you tell me who the flight attendant was who sang before we took off? They guided me to her, and I went up to her. And it's kind of funny because I guess I interrupted a conversation. But I said to her, I know you don't have any idea who I am, but I absolutely love how fun and contagious your personality is, and I'd love for you to be a part of my team. I handed her my business card, and I said, can I get your phone number? And she said, no, but I promise you I'll call you. Well, we all know sometimes how that ends up. She did end up calling me 2 weeks later, and she just attended, 6 years later, attended the St. Louis conference and became a rep.
That's great.
Yeah, that's such a great story. I love that story.
Thank you.
So, and we just recently met a flight attendant that Chris and I absolutely fell in love with. And I've got her on the product, but I'm just excited about getting her on the team because she's way cool. So
Yeah.
it's a great story. I'm working on it.
So it's never like, you know, you don't always have to, don't bring up Juice Plus, just intrigue them about team. Or, you know, Wendy Campbell, she's funny. Like if when somebody says, what do you do? And she's like, oh, you don't want to ask me what I do because I absolutely love what I do. And, you know, I might scare you. But if you speak that truth, it's just beautiful and people will hear what you're supposed to hear. And I do trust that process. I do pray every day that the Lord brings the people into my life. I'm not out there searching. I'm out there living life. And I promise, I just feel that I will always bump into the right people. Or a simple smile to somebody is contagious. And a conversation can start from a smile. So
what a great way to end that a conversation can start with a smile. Talk about being simple, Brandy. We got 3, 12, 24, 48, and a smile. Done. So hopefully, I'm going to put this back so that we can see gallery view. And I'm hoping that you will unmute yourselves because everybody's muted out. So unmute yourself because we are going to really give Brandy a huge hot heat. Thank you. So if you'll all unmute yourselves, and I want to hear from everybody. Brandy, you were fabulous.
Thanks, Brandy. Awesome.
Thank you. And just know this, if I can do it, you can too. Like, you can. Chris and Nikki believe in you. Just go to where you can get loved on. And I promise it's not always easy, but it's worth it.
That's what you look like.
I love that. Go to
Awesome, Brandy.
Good night, everybody. We love you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Great job.